At some point, a lot of you are going to have to admit that some of these groups that want to be accepted in society and feel like they're stigmatized and everybody hates them and all they want is to be understood, they don't need to be understood. They don't need to be accepted. They need to be scrutinized. They need to be demeaned. They need to be made fun of because their way of life is weird. And I'm not talking about transgenders. I'm not talking about people who want to identify as whatever they want. I'm talking specifically about this weird group of people called MAPS. This weird group that likes to sit around and say, hey, everybody, I'm a grown woman. I'm a grown man. And guess what? I'm sexually attracted or romantically attracted to 8-year-olds, to literal children, to little tiny human beings who walk the earth, growing their bodies and turning into teenagers. That type of group does not need to be understood. They are creeps. They are weirdos. They are sickos. They are scum. I don't care if 2% watching this video start sending me long paragraphs about how I don't understand the plight of their community and society. I don't want to. You want to know why? It's because I'm 22 years old and I don't think that I'm going to have fantasies about a child. I don't think when I become 30 years old, I'm going to have fantasies about making love to a child. You know why? Because I'm not sick in the mind. I'm not that creepy in society. I want to be accepted as the weird black dude who wears a pink hat who makes jokes. I don't want to be known as somebody who's a map. I don't want to be known as somebody who openly wants others to accept them for their weirdness. And I especially don't want to be linked with no group and trying to destigmatize what it means to be like this person is trying to do. Non-binary university instructor calls to destigmatize. An assistant professor at Old Dominion University has come out in support of destigmatizing, or as she calls it, minor attraction. Alan Walker, a female to male transgender who identifies as non-binary, sat down for an interview with the now infamous activist group Protasia, a registered 503c, which many have called pro. I like that, for their stances on legalizing childlike sex dolls and routinely comparing to a sexuality. Here's the part that's gonna make some people upset and a lot of people think. Whether you want to agree with gender, sexuality, whatever the terms are, I don't really care if somebody comes up to me and says, hey, I identify as a leaf, and they go on about their merry way, because that's their life. They do whatever they want to do with their life. If they want to sit in a tree all day and pretend to be a leaf, that's on them. They want to pretend to be a deer, that's on them. As long as they're not doing anything to harm others, I don't really care, because that's their life. If they're just sitting around living it, there's no problem to be had. But when you're sitting here and trying to make the comparison or trying to get people to understand that is a sexuality, I'm sorry, you're gonna have to try a little bit harder, because you need to be in jail. You don't need to be accepted for what you deem as a sexuality. No talking point, no lecture, no amount of crying about white people, no amount of marginalized buzzwords is going to get me, a rational human being, to sit down and say, yeah, I see you, I hear you, I agree, and I'm sorry for stigmatizing you. I'm gonna look at you like the creep you are and be concerned about anybody in the vicinity who has a child present, because you are a weirdo. In the interview, Walker states she uses the term minor attracted people because of consideration for feelings, noting, I think it's important to use terminology for groups that members of that group want others to use for them. She goes on to state that MAP advocacy groups like Before You Act have advocated for the use of the term, and they've advocated for it primarily because it's less stigmatizing than other terms like maybe, just maybe, if these people weren't, they wouldn't be called. They would be called normal human beings. I'm sorry, but I could sit here and say a transgender woman is normal. A transgender man is normal. You could have all these conversations about, oh, they're not actually men and women. I don't care. At least I could sit there and say they're not going around claiming to be wanting to be accepted. They just either cut their dicks off or added a dick to their body, and they're wanting to be accepted. That's different from you openly admitting you're attracted sexually to minors and you want people to understand you. Oh, I understand you, all right. You're a creep. You're not somebody who I would want around any of my nephews or my cousins or my future children. You're not somebody who I would trust in a school ever. And the fact that this person works at a university and they're trying to advocate for destigmatizing what that means is mind-boggling. It's fucking scary to me that you would think that it's okay to get on any platform and talk about this rationally and try to make it make sense to people who've known for a long time. A lot of these actions, a lot of these thoughts and talking points are disturbing and weird. This is the best part of the entire article. At another point in the interview, Walker states she sort of empathizes with because of identifying as queer. Although I'm not a map myself, I am queer, and so I too have been through experiences and realized that I have attractions many people wouldn't understand and that some people find to be immoral, and those experiences have finally shaped who I've become, and so I sort of empathize with those experiences and I wanted to learn more. You empathize with people who wish that they could be romantically and sexually active with children. I'm sorry, but I'm pretty certain that a lot of queers, a lot of gays, a lot of lesbians, a lot of transgenders want to mate with consenting adults. I don't think many, and I know there's some out there who are a part of the LGBTQ spectrum that want to prey on children. I'm not talking about them because I'm gonna lump them in with the rest of the creepy bastards, but I'm certain that there are those who want to be in that community who want to mate with consenting adults, none of whom I would empathize with because I do not want to mate with children. I do not think about mating with children. Why? Because I'm not a creep. Why? Because I have a functioning brain. Why? Because I'm not. So I'm trying real hard to understand, but every time I read a piece of this, I'm reminded that there are people out there who just want to be heard for their stupid shit. And for some reason, it's acceptable to sit there and stand proud and say, hello, everybody. I'm a 35-year-old man. I'm non-binary. I'm whatever form of sexuality that exists. And I am romantically attracted to children. That is not okay in any form or fashion, especially if you act on it. That's even more not okay. That's disturbing. That's disgusting. That's abhorrent. It's immoral. It's really fucking weird, but for some reason people want to make this a thing to be accepted with. And I'm here to let everybody know, whoever doesn't want to say it out loud, I will. No. Because why? I seem to care a little bit about these children and them growing up normal lives and having a life where they don't have to worry about some weird looking old man or woman coming at them and saying, hey, little boy, come here real quick. Let me give you something that you'll never forget. That's creepy. And no amount of, oh my God, you don't understand. And oh my God, you're a bigot. And oh my God, you're marginalizing a community is gonna make me move from my stance. Why? Because consensual adults are better than preying on children. And that's what many of these people do. Whether if you want to throw another terminology at me, go ahead. Because you know what I'm going to say at the end of the day? You're creepy. This person trying to destigmatize this and trying to make it a thing of, oh, I understand what you're feeling because I'm queer. Guess what? If you, person who is empathizing, if you are romantically attracted and preying on children and sexually attracted to children, guess what? Guess what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna lump you in with the rest of the creeps because that's creepy. No bones about it. Subscribe to the channel. I'll see y'all in the next one. Stop allowing these small, minute groups who say all this dumb shit to start propping up more and more. Call them out. Don't let them bully you into think that you're a bad person because guess what? Defending children is never gonna be bad. Bye.